زي mucosa. It is a tissue that, so this is an epithelium which secretes mucus. Okay, so here they mean this is an epithelium in the inner part of the tubule in contact with the lumen, because as you know we always find the epithelia in contact with the lumens of the tubes. يعني دايما لما يكون عندي tube and a lumen, the epithelium will be lining the lumen or in contact with the lumen. So the most external part is the serosa. Then we have the musculosa, which is a muscular layer made of smooth muscle fibers that contract rhythmically. And then we have the mucosa composed from ciliated columnar epithelium. Okay, so the type of epithelium composing those fallopian tubes is a simple columnar epithelium, and it is ciliated. It has cilia. Okay. So here also we can see in purple, like you have the serosa, in yellow we have the musculosa, composed from smooth muscle cells. For the contraction, it helps in the contraction. They help once it is formed. They are, and those cells, they are secretory cells also. Now, the cilia are constantly beating, and we have muscular contractions of the musculosa, and due to those contractions and the beating of the cilia, we will have we can have the movement of the egg to the ampulla. So in this way, the oocyte can be moved to the ampulla. And then once the zygote is formed, also those contractions of the mucosa or of the musculosa and the beating of the cilia will help also to toward the uterus. Okay, for the implantation. Now, uterus. We will talk now about the uterus. The uterus is of the that will produce the blood. Okay, so the menstrual flow is the result of the shedding of the endometrium, which is the internal layer of tissue composing the uterus. Okay. So it is provides will provide regions. We have the fundus, which is this broad and curved upper area of the uterus, and it connects the fallopian tubes to the uterus. So we have here the fundus. This part is called the fundus, and this part then is called the body of the uterus or the uterine corpus. Okay. So this larger part, the part here called the isthmus, is the lower narrow neck region. And then we have the cervix, which is a narrow region adjacent to the vagina. So the lower region of the uterus is the cervix, and the cervix directly opens in the vagina. So, and it is the narrower region also of the uterus. So the cervix is a narrow region adjacent to the vagina. It is the lowest and extends downwards from the isthmus. It extends from the isthmus and opens. We have the perimetrium, which is it's composed from the perimetrium, the myometrium, and the endometrium. The perimetrium is also called the serosa. So the first layer composing this first tissue is it is the same serosa that extend to cover the uterus. It is a thin layer of tissue made of epithelial cells that envelope the uterus. It is continuous with the layer covering the oviducts and other peritoneal organs. Myometrium or the musculosa, and also this part is composed from, it is called the myometrium, and or the musculosa, okay, and it will contract during labor, and okay, we will have muscular contractions here, also during the in the menstruations, we will have some muscular contractions. Okay, so this is the musculosa or the myometrium. It's composed from smooth muscle cells attached by gap junctions. Those smooth muscle cells are and the gap junctions okay, it is thicker than the cervix or than the isthmus. And finally, the most internal layer of tissues of the uterus is called the endometrium. And in fact, this endometrium is an epithelium. Okay, it is an epithelium lining the cavity of the uterus. So here is the cavity, internal and also stratified epithelium, and is also glandular. It secretes glycogen. It contains glycogen cells, and it's pseudostratified columnar epithelial cells and basal cells, and the columnar epithelial cells of this endometrium are ciliated. So here also we have ciliated cells. At the level of the cervical canal, it consists of simple columnar epithelium that has mucous secretory cells, ciliated and basal cells. Now, at the level of the uterine body, we have we have some glandular cells that secrete pigmentation. Okay, So here the cells produce glycogen. At the level of the cervix, we have also the endometrium composed from pseudostratified epithelium, but this epithelium does not contain glycogen secreting cells, but contains, however, the cells here produce a mucus, okay? It contains is important to avoid bacterial infection, to avoid any sort of microorganism to get inside of the female genital tract. Okay, and it has a role also during the sperm during the sperm movement inside of the female genital tract. We'll talk about this part in the last chapter. Okay. So at the level of the cervix, the cervix is the endometrium is composed from pseudostratified epitheliums containing from simple columnar. I will continue next time. Okay, we'll continue.